Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We got Aidan Brannigan, one of my favorite creators right now on LinkedIn and in the business world. Aidan, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Buster. I'm freaking stoked.
Love it. So what's the latest in your world? You were just gonna tell me a little bit something exciting. I want to hear what's going on.
Yeah, so for the past like 4 or 5 years, I've been working at startups, all from like, 10 person startups to, 150 person startups. And just getting my feet wet, trying different things on social. But I just quit my full-time job October 13th, so a month ago, to go full time on my business, which we can talk about if you want here. But I've been growing my agency since October of last year. Started as a side hustle, quickly became a main hustle, and then I was just balancing basically two full-time jobs, and then just took the leap. So lot of moving parts. I'm launching publicly December 12th, so it's really sweet, and I'm stoked.
Love it. So I want to go from a little bit earlier when I first started seeing your content on LinkedIn. The first question I have though is why did you choose LinkedIn as the place to build your brand?
I played around with Instagram, I played around with Facebook, TikTok, and I just realized the most efficient way to build a high quality and high value audience was either Twitter or LinkedIn. But I aired towards LinkedIn slightly more because there's so much shit posting, so many, or can I cuss? I hope I can
Yeah,
cuss.
you can curse. It's
All
fine.
right, so much stuff like that, and so many anonymous pages on Twitter versus LinkedIn. Um, so that's the real reason why I started on LinkedIn. I was just like, I can build a high quality, high value audience. I don't need 150,000 followers or 10 million followers. I can have 10,000 followers here and really move the needle business wise and career wise on LinkedIn. And also, it was just when I started posting on LinkedIn, I was like, I was at a rough point in my life and I was just, down. I was depressed and I was just like, I needed a way to express myself. And part of choosing LinkedIn was that shock factor. I was
Yeah.
bringing some wild content to LinkedIn, and like that just added fuel to my flame. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing things people aren't doing on LinkedIn. So those are the two reasons why.
I love it. Yeah, I think you're spot on. The majority of niches on other platforms aren't really gonna get you anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
having 50,000 followers even in most niches isn't going to do that much for you. Sometimes having 100,000, sometimes even having 1 million followers
Hmm.
is not going to do that much for you in your career on certain platforms and certain niches. So it's pretty interesting,
Yeah.
the sort of impact that a high quality LinkedIn audience can have. And then you went and took that and applied sort of the theme page strategy from other platforms to a LinkedIn quote
Yes.
unquote theme page.
Yeah. Yeah. So Daniel, who's the founder of the Marketing Millennials, he came to me like a little over 2 years ago. He already had an existing audience on the platform, but he's like he really wanted to scale the crap out of it. So he had like 200,000 followers on the platform, and it's substantially harder to go from 0 to 1 on any socials than one to 10. But we took it from 200,000 followers to 1.2 million in just a little over 2 years. This is on LinkedIn and Instagram, mainly LinkedIn. But yeah, it was just the strategy of posting 1 to 2 times a day, every single day, hyper focused on this niche of like marketers, specifically B2B marketers, the pain points they feel in their day. And yeah, it's the formula that I know you've ran on it on Instagram before, and we just applied it to LinkedIn. But obviously, with a different niche, we identified our niche. We identified why we wanted to target them, and we just hit them with memes every single day. Something people were not doing on LinkedIn as frequently 2 years ago. And now you see everyone kind of hopping on that wave. The market millennials pretty much started that wave. There's a few other people who are like OGs in that as well. Um, but yeah, it really like it scaled the business too. And like 1 million followers on LinkedIn is, I would say, 10 times more valuable than 1 million followers on any other platform. The closest platform to that would be X or Twitter, but it's still dwarfed by LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, or YouTube if you're doing long
Or
form, not short
actually,
form.
yeah, you're right.
But what do you think it would be possible in other niches to do the same thing on LinkedIn, or is this exclusive to business content?
What niche are you thinking? Like if it's like finance and like fintech or like
Yeah, so
I
you're
would say,
you think it would only work for business related
yeah,
issues.
like LinkedIn's not at that point yet. I'm trying to get it to that point where people are on the platform to create content for content's sake and not trying to necessarily drive towards any business bottom line objective. So I don't think LinkedIn's at that point yet where, you could bring like a Hoops Nation on the platform and it could go crazy viral. Um, like what is kind of a middle ground to that. My friends, they're the School of Hard Knocks on socials.
Yep, I know
They
those guys.
crush it.
They're great.
Yeah, they crush it on all socials. They're now posting on LinkedIn. Their content is like entertainment, but it is still business focused. And so that is like about as close as you could get to like a non-business content and theme page or just page in general going viral on LinkedIn. Because like, they have some entertainment aspects of their videos, but most of them they're just trying to get value for their audience of like, how do you scale a business from 6 to 7 figures? They're a really good page to follow to check out of like how like I think they're at like 50K followers and they've been posting for like a handful of months. Um, but yeah, to answer your question, just specifically, I think it's business, anything related to business. That's what LinkedIn is primed for right now. I don't know if that's going to change. I don't think it's going to change at least for a few years.
Love it. Yeah, I agree. Um, the Hard Knocks guys are awesome. I mean,
Dude,
I've never seen man on street interview explosive growth like that in my whole career.
they're on every platform they kill, even YouTube. Like YouTube, I would say is the hardest platform to really like, get some clout or respect on. Like they kill it on YouTube and then they kill it on short form.
Yeah, and
They're
they're recording like nuts, 20 interviews a day. I mean, it's really awesome. Those
yeah,
guys.
they're killing it.
Um, how would you go about going from, let's say you have no audience on LinkedIn. What are the, key strategies that you would tell someone, let's just say someone who doesn't have a business but is just trying to further their own career, and then secondly, someone who does, have a business and is trying to push that.
Yeah, I would go on the platform and ignore everyone else. And so like literally do not follow any playbook that is like working on the platform because if you follow someone else's playbook, the best you're going to be is second. You have to innovate upon that at the very least. But I would just come in with something fresh, something crazy. Usually the most insane posts on LinkedIn are like posts that nobody's ever touched on LinkedIn before and maybe they're a little more common on Twitter, but I would come in, ignore all the playbooks everyone's talking about on LinkedIn. Do your own thing, and it will take a little bit longer for your stuff to get going. But I think really, if you want to grow on LinkedIn right now, company page or personal, you have to bring something incredibly novel, and whether that's short form video or anything like that. But also more nitty gritty. Once you do that and bring that type of content with LinkedIn, unlike every other platform, you can build the audience you want manually. You can go connect with the very people that you want to follow your content. And if they just accept that invite, they're part of your audience. Every other platform, you're clicking follow and you just hope they see that they followed you or you followed them and they follow you back. LinkedIn, you can build your audience of 10,000 people in your ICP manually, or you can use an automation tool to send those automated DM requests. I don't do that, but so I would start doing that. Start working on building the audience that you want, right? So go find that ICP, and then engaging like doing some crazy stuff in the comments to like not engagement bait, but to get some sort of engagement. Like with the market millennials, we commented memes on other people's posts in our niche. So do something similar to that. Like bring something in the comments where like maybe you can try and ratio the person above. But those are just like the little things. So it starts with novel content, then building that audience manually because that's a tool you can't have in any other platform, and then commenting on that ICP's posts as well.
This is an ad.
but it's an ad for my own company, thehobbyletter.com, which is a newsletter focused on helping you build your business, your personal brand, whatever you're trying to build on social, get more sales. It helps you do it. We share all of our tricks, insights from building multi-million follower media brands of our own to helping lots of our clients in all sorts of different niches, personal brands, my own personal brand, everything that we know, we share on the Hobby Letter. So if you like this kind of stuff, you have to go to thehobbyletter.com and subscribe. There are links in the description below. And I look forward to seeing what you think, and I will see you there. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I've definitely seen more memes on the platform, but there's still room for it. Also, the short form video feed feels like a huge opportunity uh, for folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how it plays out. And then this is how X Twitter used to be, where if you know, engaged with a post on the platform, it would be shared to everyone in their audience. That's still how LinkedIn is today, and it's the only platform that's still like that. So like
It,
getting like Instagram, Dwayne the Rock Johnson can like your post, and your post can still end up with 5 likes.
yes.
But on LinkedIn, if you know Dwayne the Rock Johnson likes your post, you know, it gets pushed out to everyone that's interested or follows or is connected with him. And it's
Powerful.
yeah, it's a compounding network effect. And I don't know if they're going to do away with that at some point. I'm sure they will, but for now, it's pretty insane.
Like, yeah, that's I mean, another reason, like one of your first questions why I chose LinkedIn. I accidentally went viral with my first ever post, and it was a troll post. And that's when I realized, like, holy crap, there's organic reach on LinkedIn. That's like another big factor of why I post on LinkedIn. The organic reach is like, I wouldn't say it rivals TikTok anymore, but it definitely is substantially higher than like it's on par with a lot of other platforms.
Yeah, and you know, to your first point, it's a much more valuable audience if you're trying to build a business. It might not be as
Certainly.
valuable if you're trying to become a popular artist, um,
Yeah.
but it definitely is more valuable, you know, if you're building a business or looking for clients or um, you know, selling a SaaS tool or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
All these different hundreds of categories, but obviously not all of them. Yeah, I wouldn't be building your uh, although there are more professional athletes joining LinkedIn, which is pretty cool to see. And I think it's smart from a potential endorsement deal perspective. You want to be on the radar of all the CMOs making those final decisions on who to allocate budget to, but
Yeah.
it's
And
cool.
I mean, that also unlocks a new, like another cool aspect of LinkedIn. Like everyone that isn't within reach on other platforms is substantially more within reach on LinkedIn. What I mean by that is like if someone were to send you a DM on Instagram, I don't know if you'd see it or reply to it, but if someone were to send you a DM on LinkedIn where your audience is way more intimate, you'd probably see it or at least acknowledge it more than the one on Instagram or TikTok. So like I've sent DMs to the most random people ever and I've gotten responses from almost all of them via LinkedIn, and like good luck doing that on any other platform. So it's that like the network is way more within we reach on LinkedIn because it's less of a saturated platform as far as like content and like followers, but the users are there.
Yeah, I mean, like Mr. Beast has like 100,000 on LinkedIn, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't imagine that he has another platform where he's less than 50 million.
Yeah.
So the disparity is pretty intense when you look at some people. There are others though who have their biggest audiences on LinkedIn, like uh, I don't know, like the Richard Bransons of the world have like
Oh, I didn't even know that. His biggest
uh,
followings on LinkedIn.
yeah, it might be Instagram, but I know he has a very small YouTube channel, like surprisingly small, like 100,000. Uh, and there are a few of the early LinkedIn like influencers or celebrities or like business experts who were just pushed like heavily.
Yeah.
Basically on
Is it like
Instagram, I call
Cuban?
it yeah, on Instagram, I call it the God list, which is the list of accounts you're pushed to follow when you create an account. That's the God list. If you get on the God list, you basically won. LinkedIn has a similar God list, but their God list is like underneath accounts where it's like recommended.
Ah,
Um,
yeah.
And that's how those people like scooped up millions of followers without even posting. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Maybe someday we'll be on there.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? They should feature like up and coming creators. Um what do you think the direction of the platform is? Do you think it's just going to end up turning into like Twitter?
I don't think so, just because that anonymous account and like the burner account side of things, like I think that's a clear differentiator for both platforms. Like I have buddies who love Twitter for that reason that you can start a burner account and you can tweet the most like obscene things and like it doesn't necessarily come back to you. Versus I like LinkedIn because like I know I'm sure some people slip through the cracks, but like you have to verify your identity to create an account on the platform. Like I can't create another Aidan Brannigan account because my like it just doesn't work that way. So I think there's so much value in that because a lot of these platforms struggle with bots, and I know there is problems with that on LinkedIn, but it's not necessarily bots. It's like just low quality followers, maybe from overseas. Uh, looking for work that are just attracted to these US based companies. Um, but I think that's the clear differentiator and what's going to separate both. And I think LinkedIn's video feed is already better than Twitter's video feed. I think Twitter's timeline is just, it is hard to be optimized for video, whereas I feel like LinkedIn's just the scrolling video tab is like already legit. And I find myself scrolling on there occasionally. Like those are like the two things that I think are going to separate LinkedIn versus Twitter. But what do you think? Do you think it's a like what do you think the future is?
I think they're good for now. I mean, Microsoft has a pretty sharp team. I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, but what do you think about these two sort of controversial LinkedIn subjects? Engagement groups and AI content. What's your feeling on both of those?
Oh my God. AI content is the freaking worst. Like the way I look at anything on socials is like I think the most important thing is differentiation. And if you're using the tools that everyone else is using to create content, it's impossible to be differentiated, right? Like it's almost impossible. So AI, all that AI content, it's great for idea generation. And like, maybe you're working on 50 things at once. You can use ChatGPT to prompt you with some ideas and like get the juices flowing. I even use that for some of my content, like idea gen. Like I'm like, okay, I have these 3 ideas, but I need 20 more and like just give them to me. And like that just gets the ball rolling because sometimes I don't have someone to brainstorm with.
Yeah.
But AI content in general, I'm a hater, absolute hater. I might be just maybe this is like me being old. I don't know. Like I hate it. And then engagement pods, I also hate. Like it's the same feeling to me as like forced networking. Like to network with someone, like you don't go to someone like, oh, I want to network with you. It's like you talk with the person. If you like the person, you get along, you stay in touch. That's networking. Engagements pods is like, I mean, I'm all for being scrappy. Like it does work. I've never been in an engagement pod. What I have been in is I have made friends with people like Buster and like Daniel Murray, Ari Murray. And it's like when they see my post on the timeline, they're going to like it and maybe throw some love because they're my friends now. Like
Yeah,
that's,
the real engagement pod is called networking and making friends.
yes, seriously.
And where it's not forced. Um, I've never been in one either, but I've heard stories where like people are asked to like some pretty ridiculous stuff that would be like damaging to their brand. Like,
Yeah.
and then if they don't do it, they get like kicked out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
I like when I first started posting on LinkedIn, like I was added to two engagement pods and I didn't even know what an engagement pod was. They're like, hey, we're gonna make a group chat and like, we're gonna throw our posts in there. I'm like, what like I didn't know what it was. And then like after a month of posting and I just saw people were spamming their posts in this group, I'm like, oh, I'm out of here. And
Yeah.
left. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
weird.
I agree. Even more honestly, it's even more ridiculous on other platforms. Like I've heard about them on Instagram. It's like it doesn't do anything. Like what
Yeah,
are you
what is it? Share, do
doing?
they just repost everyone's stuff?
No,
Like
they just like comment. Maybe,
I
maybe
don't
this is like an older thing. I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, it's pretty funny. I yeah, I'm really bullish on LinkedIn. They also have like there's two things that LinkedIn has that pretty much no other platform has, which is bio under your username, as people see it on every post. It's an easy way to
Yeah.
promote something. And then a subscribe button to a non-platform site.
Yeah.
No other platform does that. Uh,
Yeah.
those are two pretty incredible differentiators where if you get a million views on a post on Twitter or Instagram, and you don't have like an elite funnel, you're basically converting nobody. Whereas on LinkedIn, pretty passively, actually, we've even seen on the hobby letter, like people do come over and check it out
Absolutely.
without even asking.
And then if you start to like just add that link to every single post, like you could post all of your posts and then maybe 20 minutes after posting, go in, edit, add your link, like to subscribe. That you'd funnel people from that as well. Like every other platform, your post would be limited reach wise if you did anything like that. One thing I do want to see LinkedIn try out because I love this so much on Instagram is like ManyChat and
Yeah.
DM automations. They are sick. And like if you want to do that on LinkedIn, to my knowledge, I haven't found any
Yeah, it's
software
still
that
still basically manual. Yeah.
yeah, you have to be like comment this and then go manually DM. So if there was a way or someone could build a software to do some DM automation with LinkedIn, and I don't mean like DM cold outreach automation, but like a ManyChat style, I think that'd be super cool. But it isn't as necessary because you're right. Like you can have a button, a custom button on your profile that's seen on every post. But
Yeah, you said something interesting. You said after the post is live, go in and edit it and put the link in. Do you think the posts are limited by reach when the link is in it initially?
yeah, if you don't have a photo on the post, definitely it is. With the marketing millennials, every single post, we would have a link. We'd have some sort of CTA, but we would post the content first and let it get some traction immediately. And then as soon as, maybe like for the marketing millennials, it's different than everyone else because if it was like 50 likes, then we'd edit it, go in, post it. But if it's a personal account and you see like maybe two or three people liked it already, just edit it, put the link in. Um, just so that there's no shot of LinkedIn like tracking that and seeing like, oh, they put a link to an outgoing source. Like let's limit this reach.
Got it. That's a great tip.
Yeah,
Well, I appreciate the LinkedIn conversation. I think people have an idea of where they can find you now, but
let's go.
what do they look up?
Yeah, just Aidan Brannigan on LinkedIn. I also just bought a meme page that one of my friends used to run, and it's called Office Water Cooler. I'm trying to revive that. I don't know if I uh, uh, just incriminated myself by saying that out loud, but um,
Oh, I
let's
love
go.
it. I'm
Thank
sure
you for
it's
having me,
great.
Buster.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.